Hey everybody, LaJoie here. It's time to stack some pennies. Big first week with Rick Ware's 51 top 15 for the fellas, and Ross Chastain smashed a watermelon on the front stretch. So we're going to talk all things Kansas, all things playoffs right here. Buckle up. It's going to be a good show.
Stacking them deep, selling them cheap.
It tastes like gasoline, rubber, and victory.
We're just out here stacking pennies.
Hey friends, LaJoie here alongside Ryan Flores. P4 finish out of the Ford Mustang. Out of y'all, good day.
Yeah, it was a good day. We had a trying day. Put him behind on pit road a couple times, but he was able to. We came down leading one time, lost the lead. That's the one that kind of hurt. But we know what the issues were. We know how to fix them, and our team's going the right way. And when I said this, it's like playing a par 5 at golf and hitting one off in the woods, and you still make par, right? So that's a good way to.
Got to get up down.
That was right, and it all worked out.
He looks like a homeless man right now.
That's when he's the fastest. He looks like the kid from Jumanji when he turns into a monkey, like in the middle of that. That's what he looks like. That's his hands. If you look at his hands,
they're all hairy.
That's just.
He says he's gonna clean it up this week. On the driver intro stage, I was sitting there. I'm like, could you just trim your beard a little bit? Maybe like the neck hair. Like keep the scraggly beard if you want to go for a playoff beard. I get that.
Don't tell the man.
No, he acknowledged. He's like, I probably should clean it up for this week.
I used to grow a playoff beard for years. Last year was the first year I didn't, and we won the championship. So the razor is sharp in my house, baby. Your day though, man. Well,
before we get into that, it was a lot of information this week. You just take for granted how much like intellectual property you absorb during the weeks of just doing the same thing with the same people for so many years, whether it's Hendrick engines and Chevy Simulator and obviously Spire stuff and just the cadence and the processes of that when you just instantly chop that off and you have to pick up with Roush Yates engines and you have to go through their processes and figure out what those guys like to do, and then you insert to a new team obviously in their processes that we can still work on and refine a bit. New people, new faces, new conversations. I found myself like winded my sails a little bit because when you had been at a place as long as I had, I found myself, I didn't notice this, but I found myself not asking questions because I anticipated what the answer was going to be or what the response was going to be. So when you get into somewhere new, you're just asking questions to see, or even just like poking like jabs at people, or just, see like poking fun at guys just to see what makes them tick, what makes them motivated. So that was fun this week. A lot of guys that I've worked with from race teams in my past over at Rick Ware, and it's a potent small group of fellas.
Shout out to the colleague guys. They walked by me this week and they said, ass and toes, because they were talking about the toes you step on today, connected to the ass, you got to kiss tomorrow. Yeah, they said, I got that yelled at me a couple times, but that's a great point, man. And it's like you said, it's a little bit of a breath of fresh air. Not saying it was anything against Spire. It was just, it needed a change, right? Everybody needed a change. I probably felt the same for them, but like, what were some of the key takeaways that you can talk about?
Well, the Robbie Benton, team president there, has really been pushing the ball down the field for me over there, and has been one of the ones he even said it in his little presser at Bristol there. It's like, I feel like I can get more out of you than Jeff Dickerson. And a lot of that's just because they're present every day, trying to fine tune and trying to get better. Then there's Chris Lawson, super hungry, super young crew chief, Truck Series champion with Zane Smith.
Dog.
He's a freaking dog, dude. His biceps are freaking massive too. It's every day's arm day for him. Jerry Kelly, who you know very well from
the absolute
Penske,
dog.
And obviously Tommy Baldwin won a lot of races. There are guys in that building that have won a lot of collective races. Tim Brown's building suspension.
The Rocket,
Madhouse legend,
100-time feature winner at Bowman Gray Stadium.
So that's what I noticed instantly is just guys that are there are happy to be there. They're working hard. They concentrate on the things that matter. It's lean, but it's not frail. There's probably 32, 35 guys. It's about the same stage as where Spire was the beginning of last year before they spent $75 million.
Yep.
So naturally, things are going to change when that influx of capital comes into your team. But my input is valuable. They continue to look at me as an asset, whether it's at this Ford Sim, brought a lot of knowledge there with tire builds and some things that you just get not in a rut. You just get in this rhythm, whether it's SHR or they have a fairly tight alliance with RFK. And 31 weeks into the year, you already have, there's no new ideas coming to the table, right?
Yeah.
So to come in with, hey, this is what we did over here. This is the tire model that we had, or this is what the kind of the track grip we were shooting for. I was pleasantly surprised how good Ford Simulator was. I think it's a similar tool, some nuances that are different, but I'm excited to get in there and really advance the database that Rick has, and also it'll probably help RFK in turn.
You even left your wallet there.
I even left my wallet there.
Cindric was in the gym. He said, saw Corey, left his wallet in the simulator.
Yeah, there's not much there besides some debt on a couple credit cards. And then, so went to Roush Yates, spent some time with Doug and Mike and their group, just their processes. So that was interesting. So yeah, everything was new. And you're a little bit, not nervous, but you're excited and you're wanting to run good. You're wanting to beat the other car, right? I mean, but to do all that, I legitimately had to boil it all down to writing out goals for Saturday. Okay, goals for Saturday. Let's be positive. Let's smile a little bit more than what you used to at the track. Let's just get a good feel for the car and keep a couple tenths in your pocket, a couple percentage points in your pocket all weekend, whether it's qualifying. Let's figure out a good practice qualifying delta, which is super important, and we're going to continue to refine that and keep the thing straight. And then make sure I want to be more involved with our practice to race delta. So that's super important to make sure you make the right adjustments for the race. And I think I checked off all the boxes for that. And then on Sunday, the pennies were stay out of fence. What?
You don't. That's healthy to do.
Yeah.
You weren't doing that before? I think you should make goals every weekend.
Yeah, I agree.
So that, and even like you said,
I think you have your mental goals, but writing them out was good for me to do, and then just all right, focus it and boil it down to 3.
And the goals aren't finish top 5, right? No. The goals are way smaller than that,
Execute.
right? The result, finishing top 15 is the result, right?
That's
it's not the goal. We talk about that a lot, and that's something that us as a championship team, just as the pit crew, we do each week. What's our goal this week?
Yep.
What are we getting better at? Yep. And that's something that you never outgrow, no matter how good you get in the sport. You have to keep those, and like you said, the fine tune, smile more, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right. I came up to you before the race started. I said, "Hey man, no measuring contests today."
No.
And you were like, "Yep, let's."
Probably wouldn't win that either.
Drive and race. It's a grower, not a shower.
That's right. But execute on all that. Execute on pit road. Don't be a hero and try to be the best in rolling speed because the juice isn't worth the squeeze. We had a solid day on pit road. We can get into pit road boats and woes here in a bit, but execute on restarts. Put yourself in offensive leverage positions. Don't put yourself in bad spots. Working with new spotters, just getting some communication stuff dialed in over the next couple weeks. Crazy's great, man. He's sharp.
He's crazy.
He's not crazy, which is
that's his nickname. He's inherently that's his name.
It's like the opposite of crazy.
He's been around a long time.
He's actually his name should be Chill, but instead it's crazy. But it was just different hearing, Chris Lawson in my ear for strategy and what his intent was and what our race was at a particular time. And then
there's a guy. He talks to me. I can't see him, but he talks to me.
Yeah.
Days of Thunder.
That is Days of Thunder.
That little voice, like you've said it a lot.
It's a big deal.
That you're in that car, it's very lonely. That voice in your head is important.
And I think that I have probably just some, I have the Randy LaJoie voice in the back of my head, always chirping well, you ain't driving the fast enough. You always go faster.
Michael Schumacher.
So, but
you need somebody to calm that down tenfold.
Or it's nice every now and then to say, hey, man, pace is good. We're right where we need to be. We're 19th.
That's it.
Let's let these guys drive in the fence a couple more, and then we'll get a restart, and then so we'll pull those couple percentage points out of your pocket you've been holding all weekend, and let's passed 7 cars in the last restart.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. So we checked off all those boxes. But first we wanted to get before we start talking about the race, I did want to talk about the hurricane stuff in Asheville, buddy.
Dude, we were there last
guys.
week. The town we stayed in
Yeah.
last week, our Airbnb was in, is gone, right? And it's sober. I wish we could do more, but we can't even get up there. Coleman Presley,
Yeah, lives up there.
Spotter for Joey. I went in there and saw him yesterday in the lounge. He hadn't talked to his wife or kids. He talked to his mom for like 2 minutes, and she was like, "Hey, we're good. Everything's okay," and that was it. So there's
Scary stuff, dude.
dude. It's so scary up there.
So donate, volunteer, do all the thing. I heard, is Greg Biffle flying a freaking helicopter and dropping off supplies?
Him and Cletus McFarland were flying
That
helicopters.
is freaking awesome, dude. That gives me goosebumps. Shout out to Greg Biffle. I know he's got a sweet cabin somewhere up there. I wish I could do more. It makes me want to just load up and go, just like move some sticks.
There's a lot of people, even our gas man on the 2-car, Andrew Lackey, his house is up in Kaiser, and he had a lot of trees down, lost power. They were living in their horse trailer that has living quarters because they had no power, no heat, no running water, right?
Wow.
Like that stuff is, you take that for granted, but it's, we're pretty lucky. The mountains are beautiful, but man, it's a scary place when stuff
It
goes
also
wrong.
reminds you you're not at the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
So thoughts and prayers to everybody that's affected by that. Brutal stuff. And luckily for us, we were in the Midwest, and we didn't really see. We left early, actually. We left on Thursday afternoon because of the weather. I think Casey and colleague flew out on Friday morning in the storm.
A lot of people did that.
Yeah, they had to just tighten the belts and ride it out.
Man, just think about 1 week. We were all there last week.
Yeah.
For Bristol. I mean, Bristol's in the heart of all that. So one week we were all there. The next week, a lot of those little towns are gone.
Dude, underwater. It's unbelievable. So that's the sad stuff. The good stuff is in Kansas. Let's go and fire it off. So we qualified 27th. Just nice fairway lap. Didn't want to, be a hero. Car drove well in practice. So got exciting the first lap in my mirror.
Yeah, this was not fun for a couple behind you. You had a good restart. It looked like 17 was going backwards, and then
He tried to shoot the middle, and then he got just in bad air, and I was able to kind of wrap the line and pass a couple cars and get out in front of this.
Who was in the 16 this week?
Tyrone Dillon announced driving the 10 car for Colleague Racing next year.
Yeah, the 31's going to go away, and it's going to become the 10.
Yep. I like lower numbers.
So Jimmy Johnson inherently ends up in this wreck.
Oh, my gosh, dude.
Such a bummer, because it's just anybody that's been in the sport for a long time.
He said he didn't even get into high gear yet. He just grew hotty. Oh, shit.
You said you had a Jimmy Johnson story.
So that 4 car gets turned there. 16 gets run in the left rear. 21's okay. He rides off.
That's such a long day when your car gets
That's
wrecked
a
that early.
tough spot with the 9. Trying to sneak it out there late. Puts 21 in a bad spot, and then it just got tight quarters.
9 car got super lucky there, right? This is why it's so important to unload off the truck well. They have to change motors. They had something go on with their motor. Qualify last, puts them behind, and then they almost get collected into this. But Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, so I'm walking from the race, right? I'm in a fairly good mood. And somebody who wasn't in a good mood was Jimmy. And we happened just like as we are past just like one of these in the garage areas. Him and his Leanne was following me, and his PR guy was following him. And I'm like, damn it, Jimmy. If it ain't me doing it to you, it's somebody else, because I know. And I was like, dude, that getting damaged the first lap, no less, and riding around the rest of the day is cruel and unusual punishment for a race car driver. And he goes, dude, tell me about it. He said, I had to remind myself about every 10 laps that I had a couple good years in this stuff, and now the racing gods are getting even with me. I said, one, you had 2 decades of great years at this stuff. I hate this year's been going bad. I had a small part of one of your Kansas races going bad, but I felt for you every time I passed you because you did not look like you were having fun. Feel for Jimmy Johnson. I wish he would have got a chance. It seems like he hasn't had a chance to really do a full race all year. But NASCAR's better when Jimmy Johnson's in it, though. I
Absolutely.
do know that.
And NASCAR's also better when Carl Edwards is there. I saw Carl Edwards, and I saw that clip of when Carl did the dive bomb on Jimmy, hit the fence and throttled up. But, man, Carl Edwards looking like a Greek god walking around the garage this weekend.
He really does. The chin bone is, like, really chiseled.
Guy's a stud.
He really is.
Cashed out, moved back to his
He had a lot of cash out too. What I heard something he said did he say something in the media center like, yeah, I don't get to keep up with it. Only when my antenna can get like, and maybe he was being facetious saying this. He doesn't have cable.
Well, he said that I did see something that he's recently re-fallen in love back with the sport, and he said that he was screaming at his TV when the 21 car won in Daytona.
Okay.
So that's great, man. The racing's been good, so it's great when guys like that can watch the sport and enjoy it, because it seems really hard for guys that have lived in that garage, made their living in that garage area, been great, and then they kind of don't have a place in the sport anymore. I see a lot of people don't even want to turn it on. So for that means our product's really good.
Less than this ruler determine the winner of the race.
You put him in this position, and we're having the conversation today about why did every other crew chief miss the two-stop strategy.
This is Formula One racing, this is road course racing, and this is also short track racing.
You've only got to get to here, just over a car width.
Catch NASCAR Inside the Race each week on NASCAR's YouTube channel.
So back to the race.
Here we go. So that was lap one and some other rabbit holes, but this was the one that surprised me. Kyle Larson's one that you'd expect to run the boards. Papa right retire. Bang.
Did he run something over, they said?
Sure. I don't think so. I think you're probably on low air trying to get some juice and some diffuser. What lap was that?
It's early.
I mean, I'm not going to speculate, but there's a lot of juice and letting air out of there every tire, and you can hurt the sidewall. Potential. This is allegedly.
It's allegedly. Yeah, you don't know. Or you can run something over. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, that put them.
But it's not uncommon to see left rear or right rear tire fails at a place like this because it's grip and it's diffuser seal.
So that it was lap 20. So it was early in the run, and it's tough, man. He goes in there plus 39, right?
Yeah.
That's why I really like this format, and that's why the regular season is so important, because now he's still, above the cutoff line quite a bit. But
that was a large crash. So kudos to that team, the road crew, getting that thing back drivable. I think they 20-something, maybe 24th. It was not as bad as it could have been. So that took the 5 out of contention. This is early. You can just run this tape, in-car camera.
Had a moment.
Well, somebody snuck it out here late. I didn't cover. The 3 stuck it out there late, and I had to bail. Damn it!
No, that's.
I'm not going to force it.
But that's the pennies you stack during the race, right?
Yeah.
Where if you knock your whole stack down there.
For sure. Yeah, it could have been early, right? You get right rear hooked in the fence, and your day's done, and everybody's pissed off. Instead, we have a nice fairway day, run 15th. But
20 car was checked out for a while. It looked like they were in pit stall 1. Their pit crew was doing good. It looked like they were going to be just hauling the mail all day, gets a little free, and gets into the fence.
I think that a lot of people on Reddit or social media think that they can drive these race cars. I think that it's easy. And even though that there are a lot of the times these cars don't get out of shape very much, people think, because they're very educated and know how driving a race car works, they think that it's easy to drive.
Reddit must be the only app you have.
I don't read it. I know that that's where all the experts go to talk about it.
I don't have Reddit. I need to get on there and see what the experts have to say.
So you should, man. It's pretty entertaining.
Twitter is where I usually go.
There's a lot of experts on there too, but more so the real statistical experts and the real driving experts are on Reddit. So there's a bump over there. Back that up. So there's a bump into turn 1. It kind of sets where your lift points are, because you can't really be in the gas before that lift point. And the 20 trying to fend off the 24 for the lead, and you're on the verge of that right rear slip, and you had the little moment, and it relieves the sidewall, and then it's like a 4-wheel slide into the fence.
Is there any bit of looking in the mirror to see where the car behind you is going to go to try to cover their error, and then you get maybe in a little too deep or a bad angle? Is there any bit of that, or not really?
All of it. Right?
Really? Like, are you watching the mirror that closely?
Probably not that deep into entry, but you peek at it, like, because the wall down the straightaway, there's the tri-oval, and then it kind of comes in probably 2-3 feet, and you see some guys actually hit the wall there because you don't anticipate it coming in that much. Right about there, if somebody's on your left rear, you take a peek at it. And he probably took a peek at it and went in there a little deep. We saw a lot of guys make a mistake similar to that.
And with the old car, that mistake, you just get free and gathered up. With this, you get free and it bounces and you're in the fence. So it's not forgiving at all.
The margin for error is very, very slim. Saw the 43 here, having a decent day, bust his ass off turn 4. Not even real bad. Not even a real bad aero spot. Just come around on him.
It's looped her.
It's slippery over there, especially up turn 4. There's a lot of rubber buildup. And when that happens, it's going to rip the diffuser strakes off. And
you're done.
You're done. You're dazed.
You're done. Oh, here's you. Oh.
Yeah. I'm through it, Harry.
Then we go to the 7 and the 42. This was a bizarre-looking crash. Turns out that it was a little bit of miscommunication between the spotter and the driver.
So the verbiage. Ooh, I turn left. The verbiage I think Stefan uses is in and out when you're middle 3. Just in and out, in and out. And how Justin heard that was, I don't know, hang a left.
I'm standing in the front of the pit box, and they go, caution. They go, oh, Corey on the intercom. And I'm like, oh, no. And I look up, like, oh, it's not him anymore. And they're like, oh, yeah, he's in the 51. I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
So that was he did a good job not hitting anything.
He did, getting that thing back to the right.
They had speed in their car. They practiced well. They were up front. They did well. I don't know if they got out strategy there for a little bit, lost some track position, which everybody kind of jockeyed track position around a little bit. Look at all the stuff floating in the air.
Some guys were on 4. So that took the 42 out of contention as well. He was decent. So that's
the small stuff though that you take for granted is verbiage, right? And when you go to a new team and you're in the hornet's nest
and
like
stuff
that,
happens like this, buddy.
And you got to be. I mean, those are the small little conversations that you like, 15-second conversations that change the course of a race that seem minute, but in the moment they're important, right? We saw Tic Tac out at dinner the other day, and I was like, hey, I'm just gonna stick my 2 cents in here. Have you talked about your verbiage on getting in the pit box? It's all that little stuff, those little pennies that got to be stacked to make $1.
And it only takes one little bump to knock it over, because you just can't assume. You can't assume that because you know what happens when you do that.
All right, this next one
makes an ass out of you and me.
Yep, makes an ass out of you and me. This next one, the 14 car.
You're
a
little
little perturbed with because they kept blocking you in, but take that hat off.
No.
Give me your honest opinion of this racing incident here.
We're watching the clips here on YouTube, so I recommend everybody watch this show on YouTube, or you can just continue to listen on Spotify. But we're looking at all the in-car stuff here. I've watched this back a couple times. Man, the 14 had a rough day in the fence a couple times. He went backwards to start the race.
Said it was their worst race as a team all year.
Yeah, not a good time to have that. Getting lapped, I don't know how much. If he was really fighting to stay on the lead lap here, then that's what you kind of want to do, because that's a really bad aero spot for the 8. But it looked like he left a larger lane from entry to the half mark, but he's in the gas trying to like, you get plowing tight if your angle's wrong there off of 2, and I think that's kind of the spot he found him in. With 14 didn't want to dump it, looking in the mirror for the 8, and the 8's trying to come with some momentum, and you're already on the verge of slipping the rears in clean air, and if somebody just chokes it off, especially your left front fender, just that little brrr, you see the 8, and then it gets into the fence a little bit more. Hate that. I really do hate that for Kyle, because he's been so close several times this year. I think we're all rooting for him at this point to try to keep that streak going.
So you put that more on the 8 or more on the 14?
How many laps ago was that?
25, call it.
And him and the 1 had gone back and forth. He hit the fence, the 1 passed him, he drove back by the 1, so that's essentially the race for the win. Easy for me to sit here running 15th telling him he should use some patience, but I'm sure he would probably I'm sure the only thing you control is your own race car. He probably would have just squeezed the throttle a little slower, I assume.
Well, you're a liar anyway, he would say. So moving on.
Right. So I'm lying about what I think he would have done, but he is one of the best to ever do it. I watched that post-race interview as well. He said he was numb and didn't really know what to do.
Yeah. It's tough, dude.
Big
Like, even somebody that's as great as him, right? When you don't win for a while, you get in the position where you're going to win, and you make
Something
the
like
bad
that
choice.
happens.
It when it rains, it pours.
Yeah, that's right.
And the 14 car is doing what he's got to do. He's in the playoffs. He doesn't want to go a lap down. If the caution comes out, he gets the pit with the lead lap cars, and that could propel him 5 extra spots, right? So that's a big deal for him as well. So I don't really put it on anybody. It's just hard racing.
That is hard racing. And I think one thing that did stick out of his post race, he said he's just 10/10 all the time. And when you're 10/10 all the time, your margin for error is 0.
The A car.
Yep.
Yeah. speaking of somebody that's 10/10 all the time, 77 car. He got spun here on this last restart. This is the last clip we have before the last restart.
Oh, the 38 there was not playing around with him.
Well, you go back earlier in the year and the 77 mess with the 38. So you reap what you sow, right? If you race people the way that Carson has raced people all year,
you're not going to get that benefit of the
this
doubt.
is what happens. That
could have been worse for the 77, but put some tires on that unit.
Not saying what Carson did here was wrong,
no,
right? But
14
he's
chokes
been into it.
You get the big.
He's been into it with the 38 all year, so he's not going to cut you a break. Like they've had words on the radio and run into each other under caution. So
that stuff does. If you keep withdrawing from the account, you got to put some deposits in that unit every now and then,
here
or else comes a collect.
Yeah, absolutely. Final restart. 19 team had a great pit stop. Did they put him out first or second? Come out with the lead.
So he was control car here?
Control car.
Oh, man. Entering with the Roswick nose-to-nose into one, giving up the bottom lanes. Not the best spot. Gets tight. Man.
Oof.
Whoa.
Go Blaney. That's what I'm saying at this point. I have such a hard time finding the Worth car on the track because it's just not our it's my favorite paint scheme.
It is my favorite paint scheme, too.
But I'm like, where is
good.
it?
I love that Worth paint scheme.
I love the Worth fire suits. They're white, but they're dirty.
Simultaneously on that restart, I think we restarted maybe 18th, 19th, drove to 15th, maybe 14th, and maintained. Here it comes, guys. Smash. People love that.
I love it.
The fans love the watermelon smash.
I love the watermelon.
It's like the watermelon crawl, but the smash.
Shout out to Ross and that one team. I love the one thing I do like about the next gen car is forever the playoff guys were the only ones winning the races. Now there's a lot of parity. I think there's more guys that haven't that aren't in the playoffs that have won this year than at this point in the playoffs than normal. It was really hard to keep your focus when you're a championship team like the one car is and you don't make the playoffs. So good on them. And shout out to Too Tall. His underneath guy, they had a baby this week.
Did they?
So Too Tall wasn't even there in Victory Lane. So shout out to Too Tall and Lindsay for having a baby. James Savali.
Too small. Is that what the baby's called?
No. So yeah, it was good for them. So question of the week. Which driver had the most disappointing Kansas race? 11, 45, 5, 2, or 20?
You could make a case for all four of those guys.
Yep.
I don't know who took the biggest hit in points. The 45 was the one that you would generally just anticipate him being in contention to win and wasn't even a factor.
Yeah.
Both 2311 cars, not very good. Maybe Bubba got in the fence a little bit, so he might have knocked some performance out of his car.
Same with the 20.
But he was right in front of me, right behind me all day. 20 rebounded, finished 7th. So he felt
like he should have won and got in the fence. Then his car was slower. 5
correct.
car,
but top 10 for him, knock him off. The 5, cutting that right rear tire down. Unfortunate. Call it disappointing. Certainly not the result those guys going to Kansas looking for. And the 11, bad day on pit road.
Yeah.
A lot of woes from those fellas.
Yeah. When you talk to people on pit road, I'd say the 11, the Denny was the most disappointed. So that leads us to boats and woes, man. We might as well just go talk about that.
I had a idea that I didn't even present in the group chat.
Let's hear it.
We're a couple weeks into the NFL season now. I feel like we can do some driver comparisons to quarterbacks. I think people would like that.
Okay, let's hear it.
After the break so I can think about it a little bit.
Sounds good.
Boats and woes and some NASCAR driver NFL quarterback comparisons coming right up after this.
Talladega, the biggest, baddest track in NASCAR, welcomes the playoffs. And Hall of Famer Carl Edwards joins us to take you inside all things fast with a twist. It's NASCAR Inside the Playoffs on True TV and Max.
All right, guys, we're back. We're going to have a little fun. So we're 4 weeks into the NFL season. We're going to do a little driver NFL quarterback comparison. First up, Kyle Larson. Who do you think he is?
He's got to be like the Patty Mahomes.
Yeah.
Right? Like really good. Gets a little bit over his skis sometimes.
Any given week.
Does some stuff that you're like, okay.
And one of the best to ever play the game.
I could just see Cliff. I'm just picturing Cliff Daniels' face on Andy Reid's body. Oh, Kyle, I owe you a cheeseburger. I could just see it right now. Who's next?
Let's go Clyde. Clyde Elliott.
Oh, man, I don't know.
I feel like he is like Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Like one of the best, can sling it, can get you a hell of a lot of fantasy points. And
Pretty
sometimes
quiet.
he can be quiet and just have some production.
Yeah.
What's another guy we should do?
Yeah. Who's another? Like Logano.
Logano, not flashy. Multiple time champion.
Yeah, I'm between like a Peyton Manning. He'd be.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Or like yeah, because like Peyton Manning's like
the general.
He's goofy enough where he's cool. Like Joey's that
That's
way.
right. Yeah.
You know, and he wins and he's really, really knowledgeable about the sport.
Yeah, and he can call audibles behind the wheel.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
I like Joey Logano and is Peyton Manning. How about your guy?
Joey said he went to that Hardy concert and he's like, I was like, you see Peyton Manning? Because Peyton was dressed up in a Tennessee outfit and walked out
Was
with,
he?
Who's the other guy that plays with Hardy?
I don't know.
He's Morgan Wallen.
Yeah.
And he's like, I saw Peyton Manning. I was like, oh, there's Peyton Manning. I was like, did you go talk to him? He's like, no, he's kind of far away. I was like, okay.
All right, cool.
But yeah, that's why he is Peyton Manning. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I bet you Peyton Manning probably said the same thing about Joey Logano.
I was taken back. Peyton Manning came to Bristol a couple years ago
Yeah.
and threw a football, and he was large.
He's a large man.
He was like, you could see him. He was taller than everybody there.
Well, his eyebrows are taller than everybody else, and his forehead's another 6 inches above everybody else.
Their Manning cast make me want to like do like viewing parties with you on Twitch for like the modified series.
Dude, I think about that every time.
We should do it.
We should. What about your guy, Blaney?
Blaney, man, I don't know. Blaney's
I think based off of the hairstyle, fits magic.
Fitzpatrick. No, he's better than than that. He's also kind of a guy that like when he talks, he's kind of calm and reserved. He'll give you a good answer. Like won a championship. I'd hate to talk about him like Aaron Rodgers because Aaron's like that way.
Aaron's a dude.
Aaron kind of knows what he wants.
I like Matt Stafford too.
Matt Stafford. Is it Pat McAfee that says Stafford's one of the best in the league?
Dude, he's great.
Yeah, I like Matt Stafford for Blaney.
Yeah.
He's a little bit less
Younger.
controversial than
Yeah,
Aaron
right.
Rodgers is.
Yeah, he keeps his hot takes to himself. What else we got? How about Kyle Busch?
Kyle Busch.
Somebody that used to be the best.
Really
And
good.
then, like-
switch teams. Like who's that? Broncos country. Let's ride.
Mr. Unlimited.
Oh, Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was the great. Russell Wilson was the guy, was the GOAT, and went to Denver, not so great. But Kyle's had more success than Russell Wilson did.
Russell Wilson had a lot of success.
Kyle's had more success with RCR than Russell Wilson did with the Broncos.
Any other team he's been to, fair point.
Yeah.
Is Russell Wilson a Hall of Famer? I don't know anything about NFL stats.
Everything I hear about Russell Wilson, he's a little cringy, man. Kyle's Instagram could be a little cringy at times too.
So there it is. It's settled. Denny.
Dan Marino. Best guy to never win a championship yet.
I feel like that's a softball.
Yeah.
Nothing to be upset about that.
Could still do it this
That's right.
year, and that's a great segue into Boats and Woes.
What about me?
You? I'd give like Gardner Minshew. Pretty cool. fun to watch.
Yeah.
Gets traded a lot.
Average fella.
Yeah, he just gets traded a lot. Really fun to watch. Can be great with the right team. I think.
I was thinking about Geno Smith. You know?
Okay,
Because
Geno.
like bounced around, everybody thought he sucked, and like you get in the right system with the right people. Like, oh wait,
Andy Dalton.
the Red Rocket.
He lost this week though.
But that was a great. I would take a Red Rocket analogy for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I think your hairstyle. I think you're cooler than that. I have to give you. I like Gardner Minshew. I'm a Gardner Minshew fan. I'd be friends with him.
Me too, but I'm better than Gardner Minshew
Okay.
comparatively.
That video of him with his dad after they won like
Dude, he
his
lived in
first game,
lives
Let's
in
go.
lives in a van
Yeah, down by the
down
river.
by the river. There it is. Hope you guys enjoyed our NFL NASCAR driver comparisons. Now let's get to the meat and potatoes of meat and potatoes. A pit road boats and roads.
Yeah, so we'll start with the 11 car here because this was the big takeaway. I didn't get to see much of it. This is a pit issue they had. Okay. They didn't get the right rear tight, had to rejack it, which is the right move. You know, in this situation, you're going to lose some track position, but your car is still in it.
Yep. 44 laps later.
So this is another stop. I guess they had a loose wheel.
Oh boy, riding it out.
He stayed down
Didn't
there
like
on
it.
There's a lot of loose wheels. We had one. Each one of our Penske cars had one. The 11 team had one.
Why do you think that is? Trying to.
There's a lot of pit
fast?
stops.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh no! Again.
I'll tell you what Denny Hamlin did. That's a cardinal sin against the pit crew gods and everybody.
Dog him on the.
He said no. He just said on the radio, "Hey, we don't need to lose any track position here."
Oh.
Let me tell you something. No. Right? Like we are out here. It doesn't need to be said.
That's the basic understanding.
Like you can't just call that like, hey, I need some wedge.
Right.
Like we know we don't want to lose track position. You get it. Like don't wait when you say that stuff, or you say, hey, I need a good one here.
Yeah.
It's a bad one's coming.
For sure.
For anybody that's listening, whenever you use that verbiage,
Yep.
The pit crew gods do not like it.
Yeah, because then you just try harder.
Well,
and then you go worse.
It's just, or another one, no mistakes. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I don't want to make a mistake.
Noted.
Yeah.
Like I'm with you. I practice 4 times a week to not make a mistake. I'm not here to make a mistake. I can't just turn the mistake knob on and off.
Yeah, or when the spotter tells you, all right, man, hey, just don't hit the fence.
And dude, I'm gonna tell you this, and I forgot about it until this week. Playoff pit crewing, the feeling of it, the stress, the worry, the anxiety of it, but the reward of it is like chasing the dragon, dude, that you just you love it, you know. And if it's a gift and a curse, and it is a stressful job, and it's not for the weary. So when you have a bad day and it starts going bad, it can snowball,
For
right?
sure.
And you can either pull yourself out of it or it can get worse, right? That's where the 11 team.
How often are there like team powwows? Like if
We had really hard conversations with the 12 team this week
during the race?
during practice. It had the hay. When you go to the racetrack,
Yeah, the
the
hay's
hay's
in the
got to
barn.
be in the barn,
That's right.
right? And you don't rise to the level of your competition. You stoop to the level of your training, right? You drop, like when stuff gets really hard like that. You drop back down to now they have one of the best pit coaches in the sport, and they are one of, if any team pulls their stats, the 11 team is the best team on pit road throughout the year. So I get Denny's frustration, but man, I did not like his verbiage after the race. The way he's got 5 playoff points because they won him a race at Richmond.
Yeah.
Right? Like the verbiage of like, man, yeah, these guys we didn't execute. Like, are you with your team or not?
What is fair for him to say?
I think it's fair to say whatever you want behind closed doors. But when you say stuff to the media, or a little bit of what I saw him saying was making it was like a little bit of like I'm not mentally in it, he said at one point. Like, how do you stay mentally in it? I'm not. I'm mentally tapped out at the moment or something. He said something along those lines.
About what?
Jeff Gluck, I think, asked him, how do you stay mentally tapped in when you have issues like that? And he said something like, I'm not at the moment. That is a when you start dogging the pit crew, it happened. It's done.
Yeah.
Right? The pit cycle didn't go the way you wanted it to. You're either going to use it as an excuse why it's okay to lose, or you're going to be the leader and the most expensive guy on the team and dig your team out of it. Right? Like, that's why great quarterbacks are the way they are, right? They dig their team out. I'm not trying to dog Denny, but as a pit crew guy, man, that 11 team's been great all year. And they had a bad race. They're still above the cutoff line. Did they lose the race on pit road? Yes. Did we lose the race on pit road? Probably. Did a lot of people, and it's easy to say, we had the best car. We are the best. They screwed me.
Yeah.
That is not great for team culture, dude. That is not great for team culture at all. So as a pit crew guy, man, I'd be frustrated if I was on his team, especially if it's good as they done. I would also be frustrated with myself because I had a bad day, right? I'm not diverting that to him. But when I have a bad day, I'm hoping that I have enough equity in the bank that that the driver and the team have my back.
Another guy who I think he would just dog cuss his pit crews is Kevin Harvick.
And he went through a lot of pit crew guys.
Right.
I seen him retire people, dude.
Yeah.
But he looked at pit crew guys as a
Expendable.
7/16 wrench, dude.
Yeah.
Right? And when you start looking at your guys as an asset and being a teammate, there's two ways to look at it. And, if Kevin Harvick had treated his guys more of an asset, maybe he has more championships.
Right.
Right? They're humans, and they're really good at their job.
Right.
And Cup pit crewing is as hard as it's ever been, and you are on the verge of having a loose wheel or something bad happening every time you come down.
Yep.
Right, we had a rough day, and I think Higgy's got it pulled up here, right? And Blaney got frustrated about it. This is a 2-car, which is easily confused with us. So the 2-car had a loose wheel. That's why he's showing us this. It's hard to see.
Lackey.
Oh, Jesse stopped him. Lackey's a stud.
He about went for a ride. He actually did go for a ride.
Yeah, Lackey's a stud. Stopped it. Jesse standing there, stopped them. They come back down, tighten their wheel, takes them out. So I think the 2-car had a right rear and a left front that were questionable there, so they did both sides. What happens is, and I think it's the case on the 22 and the 2, is sometimes the wheel hit right in between the center of the spokes, and it'll put like a dong on the back of the wheel, and then it'll like a dong or a ding or a ding dong on the back. Like, it'll hit and the aluminum will bend over, and then as it tries to tighten up over the pin, it'll just be slow, and it won't get there. Cameron Moist is just losing it. These guys are just 12.
I'm trying to hold it in.
But anyway,
it's 2 weeks. One with a cock and one with a dong.
The wheel dong. It was not great. And here's us. We had a good day. Zach had a little bit of an issue with his O-rings. He lost nuts twice. So this is just getting way out of hand. But nut flew out of the socket twice.
Both of his nuts were gone.
Yep. Left rear first
Travesty.
stop. Third or fourth stop. Right rear. And then they had the same thing, a little bit of a rattle on the left rear. It was questionable if it was tight, but it looked tight. And that's when Blaney was like, I didn't know. When I saw it, when I saw the video pop up, I always 100% have my team's back, right? And Zach Price is a multi-time champion of the sport. 1 lug nut, 5 lug nut. He's won over 50 races. He's consummate professional. Is that how you say that?
I believe so.
So like whenever he's going through it, I just sit back and let him fix his issue. I don't have to say anything. I don't have to have any input. I know he's going to fix it. And Blaney was frustrated, rightfully so. In the situation, we thought it was tight. It ended up not being tight. So when he said something, it was like, okay, it was like right on the verge, but it wasn't enough to pit and dump all your track position. But like hindsight, if you know that it's going to be loose, then you'll pit. But it all ended up working out when the 8-car spun out. We come back down. We do one of our fastest stops of the day, send them back out, and
gives him top 5.
Get him a top 5, and we're plus 20-something to the points. I saw that you had a video of me that was kind of funny. I got roasted for this, so.
We try to give it a little kick in the ass on the way out. That kick form was pretty good. I feel like you're pretty dialed in for next week.
Like when we have a problem on pit road or a slower stop, and we come back, like to come back from that and do a great stop, you get excited. And I was like, get the hell out of here. I went to kick it. And then I didn't realize the 6 car was behind us. And I never want to be that guy because Blaney was frustrated with another pit crew guy last week that was standing out in the middle of pit road. He's like, tell him to get out of the way. And I didn't want to be that guy for Brad, so I kicked it. And right when I did, I saw him out of the corner of my eye coming. So I like turned around and ran. And Trevor was like, you nerd, what are you doing? So yeah, Trevor roasted me. And then the 2 car guys were across from us. They made fun of me. And now everybody gets to see it if you're on YouTube. So yeah. But
keep doing it, man.
All around a good day. The 19 car comes down. These are our dogs of the week, man. They have been through the ringer. They do an 8, low 8 or mid 8, second stop. Send them off with the lead. Chance to win the race. They have been
big stop out of the boys.
They have been talked about quite a bit this year. Not only by the press, but also internally by their own team. They have been swapped out, changed around. I think we have the roster up here. So we got front tire changer Thomas Hatcher. Thomas was a teammate of mine for a long time.
Dog.
22. He's a champion of the sport as well. He was down on the front row car. He got pulled up. Lee Cunningham was the front tire changer. They moved him back to the rears. He's a long-time rear tire changer. He was on the 19 and the 78 for a long time. He's an absolute dog. Two veterans of the sport. Tire carrier, CJ Bailey. Oh, their jackman is Caleb Dirks. He's been kind of run through the ringer too. They've done really well getting all these guys together, and obviously their fueler, Matt Tyrell.
Dogs.
They've been roasted on a lot of different levels this year, but they have made that team better. They have worked hard. They put him in position to transfer last week, and they sped on pit road, and they put him in position to win the race this week. And he got beat on the restart. But those guys need credit. They get a lot of bad credit when stuff bad happens, just like with the 11. When stuff good happens and they don't win, they a lot of times gets lost, but not here on this show, man. 19 car, dogs of the week.
Your success is acknowledged.
Good job.
Dogs of the week. Congratulations to the 19 team, but congratulations to Ross Chastain. We didn't really talk about him. Happy for him.
Yep, those guys are blue-collar pit crew, bunch of good guys. Shane Wilson and the boys, man, they're probably the funniest dudes on pit road. So
the only guy on pit road whose head is smoother than the watermelon.
That's right. That's right. Let's move on to
what we got. Penny for your thoughts.
Penny for your thoughts questions. I'm Ryan Flores. Join Kim Kuhn and myself each and every week right here at Around the Track. Whether you are going to the racetrack or watching from home, we get you ready for all things national and regional level.
And we'll tell you who and what to watch for each week. Plus, we get you ready for the weekend at the racetrack, and Erica will help you place your bets to win some easy money.
Be sure to check out Around the Track every Wednesday on NASCAR's YouTube channel. All right, Penny, for your thoughts. First one, how does it feel to get a top 15 in your first start with RWR?
Felt really good. I think that was a little bit better than what I think my hope was for the week. I think it was top 20, but executed on all the goals, gained a couple spots in the points, and I think we're going to keep it trucking. But biggest thing was just get a week under the belt just so we all learn each other, see what the communication is. Rick and Lisa were super pumped up. Robbie was pumped up. And I think just to get you don't know what you're getting into. Those guys, it's just different people, different ways to communicate. So I think everything was positive. I had a lot of people listen to the radio as well on the NASCAR app. Said they were encouraged by just the communication on our team as well. So it's going to be a fun 6 races to close this year out and get a couple more spots in points.
10 for next one. We kind of touched on it. Any noticeable differences after changing manufacturers?
A lot of difference. I believe the Ford body is a little bit better in traffic. Seems like. I think maybe because the Chevy makes more front, so you lose less front in traffic. The ability to kind of move around and restarts was more so than what I was used to. The pitch of the motor was a little bit different. I'm sure just obviously different motors, manufacturers, and the pipes are a bit different, but that Mustang FR9 was a little more throaty off the bottom, a little less high pitch like the Hendrick engines, but felt good.
Next one. Oh, this one's for me. Ryan, how did you start your career as a tire changer? I was pretty unconventional. I worked in the fab shop at Roush and would just go out at my lunch times and after work and just hit lug nuts till my knuckles bled. Spent 4 years there. They never gave me a chance. Told me I'd never be a tire changer. So I left and went to Stuart Hall, started as a backup, and just kind of worked my way up from there. Been at Penske for 10 years now, kind of just fighting the good fight. Not really a sexy athlete story, more of just a racer grinding it out.
That's all it takes.
That's enough about me. Back to you. This is a good one. Did you think about stopping in the Sevens pit box?
No, because they gave me the pits, or the Spire gave RWR the pit sign, which is the little Super Shoe logo.
Oh, okay.
Fluorescent orange one. So you're just looking for that.
Oh, I saw that. Okay.
Yeah, so I was just looking for that. Cool. I wouldn't have even thought. If it was a 51 sign, I 100% would have missed it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's why you use your own. How does the RFK RWR relationship compare to the Spire Hendrick relationship?
It's a good question. Comparable. They get a lot of help from Hendrick. Spire does. Lot of cohesiveness with the sim models and tire maps and stuff like that, and the passing of setups and just input on that from Hendrick to Spire was fairly strong. So I think that's an objective that RWR is going to have, and it's probably going to be a bit stronger next year with some of the stuff they're working on. So I think it'd be maybe comparable to that level. The problem is when the Hendricks and the track houses and the RCRs, the key partner teams, they all have an open book with sharing tire models on simulator, and they can legitimately open up their database and see. They can all see what the 1 ran this weekend. They can all see what the 5 ran. Like every key partner team, and then that information can then trickle down to the non-key partner teams. RFK, from what I understand, can't see what Penske runs, can't see what Stewart Haas runs. So RFK is on its own little island with only 2 cars to try things, and sometimes they miss it. They were decent this weekend. I think Chris maybe ran 12th, 11th, 12th. But you're kind of married and you're hitching your wagon to a 2-car team without a lot of other backup information. So if they hit it, it's great. If they miss it because they only have 2 teams worth of information and data, you're hoping that you can be the best car in camp.
That leads us to the next question. Where does RWR get their pit crew from, and who is your new spotter?
They get their pit crew not from RFK actually, but from Gibbs. So I did a pit stop practice as well at Gibbs last week. Them boys are fast.
Better at pit stops than they are at kickball?
Yes.
Just good.
Yes, they are. I think we're going to play a couple of those fellows on the kickball team as well. Not mine, somebody else's. New spotter, we talked about him, crazy. Chris Osborne, been spotting for a long time. Kenseth,
yep.
Jimmy Johnson, some others. So he's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, why so many loose wheels is the last question. Because there's more opportunities for loose wheels. We're doing more pit stops. Everybody's going as fast as they can. And you're always on the verge of wheels being loose there. When they are loose, say that you have a wheel that is questionable at Richmond or at New Hampshire, you could probably ride on a little longer. When you have one at Kansas, which is one of our fastest tracks, a place where you're driving at the hardest, that is kind of, you can't hide from it. You're going to feel it. It's going to come loose. A lot of these guys are now able to feel if they're loose pulling off pit road, which is something that everybody's gotten better at, and a lot of the catches were made, especially on our cars yesterday, when the cars pulled off pit road.
One question I saw, there's a bunch of them. Thank you guys for firing them off this week. What's the easiest part of transitioning? So there's a lot of hard things. At the end of the day, you're just going racing in a circle with guys that you are working on how to try to make a race car go fast in a circle with. But probably the easiest thing, especially with these next-gen cars, is you legitimately pull your seat out and the rails, and you plug a seat and leg boards right in. So where you sit in the car, you don't have to go through the whole process of remounting a seat. That's a big pain in the ass. So it was literally just seat swaps, rail swaps, leg braces, and you just get it dialed in.
Shifter, where was the boat switch?
To the left of the switch, to the shifter. They also had Justin Haley's arms aren't long enough to reach the actual shifter. They had an extension to get it, and it was like, right, it's like, tink.
Oh, okay. Nice. We used to have to run one for Danica. Back in the day, we used to have to make
Similar
an
sizes.
extension. Penny Stacker of the Week.
Penny Stacker of the Week.
Did have a lot of comments. Hey, keep sending your drafty car stuff in. A lot of people wants drafty car with us.
Yeah, and you're done.
I'm
You're
done with
retired.
it. I'm retired. But
I didn't get it.
I'm like Carl Edwards. I still like watching the highlights, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to race myself.
So first Penny Stacker, then drafty car. Penny Stacker is I've became actually very good friends with the bartender at 801 Chop House.
Oh, you
Pablo.
have? Yeah.
He comes to I invite him and his wife and a couple of buddies in every Kansas race to come out and hang out. His wife cut out like a giant fat head, like a necklace. Did you ever see her walking around?
No.
It was like
Of him or of you?
Of my face.
Nice.
Like this big. Like Flavor Flav's freaking clock hanging off his neck. And it was a Gamebridge hat. So I gave her a Sharpie. I said, can you color that out? I'm done with that. Just give me a black hat.
Oh, boy.
So shout out. I don't even get her name, to be honest with you. But they gave me birthday gift. Pablo bought a piece of Wagyu A5 Japanese beef and gave it to me for my birthday.
Cooked or not raw?
No, it was like in a vacuum sealed.
Dude.
So I'll cook it up on a grill this week. So shout out to Pablo and his wife. They're the Penny Stackers of the Week.
Yeah, a couple more shout outs.
Hang on, drafty car updates.
Okay, drafty
I had a really busy week. I didn't get a chance to knock any out. I'm like halfway through my first Grand National Series.
Yep.
I haven't gotten Victory Lane yet. I'm like 7-8 week. It's tough.
Getting wrecked a lot.
Get wrecked a lot. Them boys. It's pretty realistic. A lot of guys don't really know what they're doing out there. Pushing you when you don't need to be pushed. The lanes don't really make sense. So I'm just trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
It's unpredictable. I'm ready. I'm trying to make my way into the Cup Series.
Yeah, that's what I did. I ran a year there. I would hang out in the mid pack, so I'd be part of the group that drove up and smashing everybody instead of the one that was sitting there getting smashed into.
Yeah.
But I did realize that if you're gonna run Xfinity, you might as well. You're spending the money.
I've got my Grand National car is the discounted rubber paint scheme.
Oh yeah, I changed tires on that one for a long time. What's your truck?
It's the Bandit.
If you want to win a championship, you're going to need more cars than that one.
No, just don't wreck it. Don't tear it up. No, so I got my approval like halfway through the year.
Oh.
So this is all just house money. So I'm just gaining experience.
You need 3 cars.
When I go for the championship next year, I'll have some cars. I got $593,000 in the bank, so I'm rolling, boys.
Well, spend it.
Stacking Pennies Motor Gang is dialed in for this coming season.
Who else was dialed in this weekend? Corey Heim, man. Scotty Zip is climbing the ladder. He's closing in on being in the top 5 all-time winners
in the truck series?
In crew chiefs, and Corey's got Corey Heim hauling the mail. So
who would be the most?
I don't know. I didn't see that list. He's right there with like Junior Hanley and all them. Eric Almirola, man, rebounds. The Xfinity race was great.
That was an exciting ending to that race.
Is that where Eric Almirola broke his back?
Yes.
So that's great.
Sweet redemption.
Sweet redemption. So happy.
Saw him at breakfast actually on Friday morning.
What do you have?
Him
to
and
say?
Janice, just BS about life.
Good guy. And hey, Carson Quaffle wins the Valley Star Credit Union 300. That was fun to watch. A long race, but it was fun to watch. The heat races are always the most fun to watch there. But man, they had that.
You take for granted the cup bodies that are made out of Kevlar and carbon fiber because the late models blow apart when they run into.
Yep, they just blow apart.
Freaking fenders are ripped off. The doors hanging off.
Breathe on them.
Jesus, they look sweet though.
Yeah,
they look sweet.
They do. What's this new piece of Arctic merch here?
So this is what we're giving to the VIPs that come out and play kickball. This is a 36-can backpack cooler.
Let's go.
So if you load this sucker down with a couple bush lights and some ice, you might break your back, but you're definitely going to get an ab workout, and you're not going to be thirsty.
No.
I promise you that.
All your friends around won't be thirsty either.
That's right.
And I heard that somebody that a lucky fan could win one.
Yeah, I don't really know what we're doing yet, but it's something going to be along the lines, even if you can't be in town October 10th in Kannapolis for the 4th Annual Kickball Classic, you can buy a $7 ticket 100% of the proceeds go to the Kannapolis YMCA and Samaritan's Feet, and your name will essentially be in the pot to win this sucker.
Where can you buy tickets at?
CoreyLaJoieRacing.com.
So you go to CoreyLaJoieRacing.com.
Buy a $7 ticket, and it's like essentially a raffle ticket to get this sucker. I'll probably throw some extra goodies in there too. We got a lot of Arctic stuff to give away. So do that. Help the kids win a massive backpack cooler. What else is there? Anything grind your gears this week?
No, man, nothing. I'm good to go. I'm telling you, though, Cup, playoff, pit crewing is not for the faint of heart.
Only real gladiators jump out in front of cars going 50 miles an hour.
That's it. Yeah, but nothing ground my gears, man. It was a straightforward race. Ate some food on the plane on the way back.
Yep.
And
what'd you eat?
Pizza, Jack Stack's barbecue, cookie.
Jack Stack's.
Hell, I had a headache, so I even drank Coca-Cola.
What'd that do for you?
Made me feel bad. But it was good. It was good at first, and then it was bad.
Like the first half of a Coke,
that's I didn't get all the way through it.
Is like, yes. Then if you just like somehow power through the second half, you're like, I'm gonna go and die.
Not a big soda guy. No. But yeah, I don't know, man. I had a great weekend. I was happy that you had a great weekend. Moving on to Talladega, do you feel like this is a place where you can win?
Yes, but a little less so these days. Track position is uber important.
Less so these days because of how the race progressed, not because of the ride swap.
Yeah. I think the
can
car.
Be taken.
Yeah, I think the speed of the car is going to be the same, comparable. Ford Mustangs generally qualify really well there.
Yeah,
and they are in contention to win. So we saw Justin in the 51 lead some laps at Daytona when everybody was saving fuel. So those are the opportunities throughout the day you see guys saving fuel, and you can get the third lane going, and you can start covering the second and first lane and care less about saving fuel. Have that old girl out in the wind, maybe burn a little extra fuel, but that'll leapfrog you some track position to where if you can be in the first 2 to 3 rows, 10 to 12 laps left in the race, that's where you want to be. That's
and we'll talk more about that on Spare Change this week, so that'll be exciting.
I don't think that our chances are any less this week than they would have been the other way around. I think that these are the chances that small teams have the opportunity to go steal one.
Yeah, we talked about kickball. Make sure you go to YouTube. It's great from last week, the kickball draft show.
A lot of good.
Ricky Stenhouse, Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace,
a lot of good comments.
Corey, and I commissioned that with you guys. It was a lot of fun. That's really fun to watch if you're looking for some content, some NASCAR content this week to make you smile. Go check that out. And like we said, man, Spare Change will be out Thursday. Like, share, rate, review.
All that stuff. Keep firing over. #Penny for your thoughts. And stay tuned into the @_Stacking Pennies Instagram page for the Arctic Ice Cold Trivia giveaways. All that stuff. Keep tuning in. Keep stacking pennies, guys. Big first week with the 51. Excited to work with that group to finish out the year. Figure out what those pennies are in your life. Write them out. Some small, tangible goals, and keep working to what you want to do in life. Appreciate y'all listening each and every week. Corey and Ryan, talk to you next week.